Every human being might have accidentally at some point touched this, which makes suddenly one spark of magic in somebody's life. This is because they've touched this dimension of intelligence unconsciously. Now, the question is only about how to get there consciously and to stay there.
We have gone some places already.
I'm unprepared.
Let's do it!
This
Let's get
is
crazy.
This is something people have been asking for a long time.
Like half a year?
Like, oh yeah.
Like actually? Yeah.
I think I saw like a clip of this, like when it first came out, 2019, before like we were even close.
Yeah.
But it was a very small clip, and I don't remember a thing about it.
Prepare for Mind is Mush Part 2.
I'm just trying to strap in right now.
Yeah, you know what it is. It's David Eagleman, never heard of him, who cares? Sadhguru.
In conversation.
In conversation.
So I'm very interested in the intersection of our worlds, science and mysticism.
I thought we live on the same planet.
This is a long interview for David Eagleman if he keeps going like that.
That was already so like the chess game began, and then Sadhguru just like put a player somewhere that just like already David Eagleman's like
He's like, I didn't know we were playing 3-dimensional chess.
I'm interested in finding where our perspectives overlap in this, because one of your interests is also understanding reality, how we perceive it, how it's individualized to us. So can you tell us about that?
There is existence outside, and there is you or me as individual human beings. We have not seen the world. We know it only the way it's projected in the firmament of our minds. When we say mind, in English language, mind is just one word and supposed to encompass everything. But in the yogic terminology, we have 16 parts of the mind which function distinct functions. And there are a whole lot of practices and processes through which one takes charge of these 16 dimensions of mind. These 16, for simpler understanding, can be brought into four sections. The first dimension of the mind is we are referring to as buddhi, or what is generally considered intellect. It is the intellect. I think modern societies, particularly modern education, has become too overtly focused on the intellect. Aristotle, you know. I'm not talking about your boy. Because of…
Building the base layer right here.
Yeah,
We're building the base layer because it's like Sadhguru can't just go off because he's talking at the Isha Foundation Center, at the Isha Center. He's clearly talking to a bunch of people who are just curious.
Yeah.
Like that's
more
just,
they're like here to hear a neuroscientist talk to a mystic. Like,
yeah, that's like, who doesn't want to hear that? That's incredible.
It seems like so far they agree that a lot of our reality is built by something up here. But now Sadhguru is moving into the mind, which is maybe part of it has to do with what's here. But the mind is such a… That word has been used far too many ways throughout far too many cultures.
Yes.
So I feel like…
Absolutely true.
Let's see what Sadhguru is defining it as.
We got too engrossed in… we got too mesmerized by our own logic, and we have invested too much in human intellect, leaving out the other dimensions of intelligence that functions within us. When we say intellect, it is the logical realm of what's happening in our minds. Or in other words, in your intellect, you can't make your intellect agree 2 plus 2 is 6. It has to be 4, otherwise you'll think it's crazy. So, it's factual. It grasps the facts of life and assimilates and makes an analysis of that and lets us penetrate through the world. Or in other words, intellect is like a knife. The sharper, the better. Knife is an instrument which is used for cutting things open. So this is one way of exploring the world, by dissection. This is how, at least in high school you must have dissected something. Maybe an earthworm or a cockroach or a frog, I don't know how far you went. This is one way of knowing things. You definitely grasp something, but you never grasp the intrinsic nature of life by dissection. So there are other dimensions of intelligence. And another aspect of the intellect is the second dimension of the mind, we call it as ahankara, which in English language would translate as the identity. What is the identity you have taken? Your intellect is always a slave of your identity. What you identified with, it is only around that it functions. Simple things. People are identified with things that they've not even seen, and huge emotions are there, their life is guided by those things. For example, all of us belong to some nation today. There was a time 100 years ago, many people did not belong to any nation. But today everybody belongs to some nation and everybody belongs to some football club also. Because both have flags and emblems and works. So, nationality is a new idea. It's just about 150, 200 years that we have this strong sense of nationhood. We've shifted from our ethnic, racial and other kinds of identities to national identity. Just the moment you believe, I belong to this nation, the emblem of that nation, the flag of that nation, the anthem of that nation, brings genuine emotion. Nobody's pretending, it's real. It's real because people are willing to die for it. It has to be real. But it's just an identity, you could just switch it any time. You could move to another country and take that on and it becomes yours.
The idea of freedom that we've been wrapped up in recently was coming in when he was saying that everyone belongs to a country. And isn't that wild that you… Literally there are papers that say like, this person belongs here.
Yeah.
And in this way.
Tries to categorize.
And those papers hinder you from or allow you to go other places. Like certain passports can't travel to other certain places.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just a dang human.
Dang human.
But then I like how he goes, identities, something that could be switched just like that.
Yes.
And like, isn't that freedom right there?
Yes. And what's striking me in this so far, and this is just like where I'm going with it, is that Sadhguru, like, he's on the level of doing service to others, where he is putting himself in situations like this. Like, he doesn't have anything to prove. There's nothing, like, he's not going out with this, like, great ambition. He is putting himself in a place where he has to work from literally the base level and also find a way, this is the most incredible thing to me, find a way to bring what is mystical to people who are only using their intellect. And he's somehow successful in doing that, because I find it so hard to even comprehend doing that, being able to do that. Like, putting myself in the seat of Sadhguru.
Yeah.
Where I am sitting across from a neuroscientist. I know the things I've experienced. I know their truth. But how could I express them?
Yeah.
There's so many things that I don't even say on this channel. Because, like, what is the point in trying to express what I've experienced?
Yeah.
It's just so pointless. But Sadhguru is able to, in a way, hold all those experiences with him and bring it to the universal somehow. Like turn his experience into this universal type thing that's described in the most simple ways.
He just lays down what it is, and then it's your choice. You know, you're a bit more empowered than you were earlier. You're a bit more free.
That's all he does, is he empowers you. That is my only experience, period, with Sadhguru. Like the only truthful experiences that I've had with him are all just, I feel more empowered.
Yeah.
As a human being, which is, yeah, very grateful for this man.
So the moment you identify yourself with something, your intellect is completely always protecting this identity and working around this identity. So the identity, if we want to continue that analogy, if intellect is the knife, identity is the hand that holds the knife. How steady or unsteady this hand is will determine what this intellect will do or undo. The next dimension of the mind…
Just the interesting thing that he says, how steady or unsteady this identity is.
I was like waiting for him to describe that more.
Yeah. Because it may make you think like, oh, I should have one identity that I really stick with.
Right.
But it's almost, at least in my experience, it's like because I'm like me, this thing Eli is made up of so many different identities, you know, like there are so many ways I could define myself. And it's almost like when you are like one of those things, all of a sudden you're off balance. But when you are the thing that is like all of them, or like behind it somehow, whatever it is, like it's just weird to think about like where that real identity is that becomes stable, you know, because it feels like all the little things can always put you off.
Yes.
And I like how he was like, your intellect's going to defend whatever that thing is. Really cool.
It's called as manas. So this is not just in one place, this is the entire body. Manas is a huge silo of memory. So when I say huge silo of memory, whatever memory you may have in your brain, I know you're a brain fan. Whatever memory you may have in your brain, your body has 1 trillion times more memory than that. You definitely don't remember how your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather looked like, but his nose is sitting on your face right now. It remembers. How your forefathers looked 1,000,000 years ago, your body still remembers, has not forgotten. Definitely it is not the capability of your brain. So, in terms of memory, the manas is phenomenal and it's right across the body. Every cell in the body carries enormous memory. Memory to a point for the origin of life on this planet and beyond. All that memory is carried in this body. So this is manas. If there is no memory, intellect will be defunct, it's like a car without gas. Because there is memory, intellect is on. This memory flows through the hand of identity, and whatever is the identity, the memory takes on that color accordingly, and then it plays up in the intellect and intellect functions. The fourth dimension of the mind is called chitta. Chitta means it's pure intelligence, unsullied by memory. There is absolutely no memory, free of memory, it's just pure intelligence. When we say pure intelligence, all kinds of things have been said with all due respect to everybody's beliefs and faiths and whatever. All kinds of things have been said to people that God is generous, God is love, God is this, God is that. Suppose nobody told you anything and you just paid attention to all the creation around you, how a flower blossoms, how a leaf is, how an ant moves. If you paid enough attention, one thing that you would definitely come to is, whatever is the source of creation is a goddamn intelligent thing. Intelligence, intelligence, intelligence. Everything is smacked with phenomenal intelligence beyond what our quite phenomenal brain cannot perceive. So, this is a dimension of intelligence within us, which is the basis of our creation in a way. If you eat a piece of bread, Over the afternoon, it becomes a human being because this intelligence exists within you and me. So, if you touch this intelligence in a very mischievous way, the yogi or the yogic culture says, if you touch your chitta, if you touch this dimension of intelligence, then divine becomes your slave. You don't have to think what you want, you don't have to seek what you want. If you touch this intelligence, everything that you wish to know is yours. It's just you have to just direct your focus and it's all there, because there is a dimension of chitta. Every human being might have accidentally at some point touched this, which makes suddenly one spark of magic in somebody's life. This is because they've touched this dimension of intelligence unconsciously. Now, the question is only about how to get there consciously and to stay there.
We have gone some places already. Yes, strap in.
Yes.
We are, first of all, I love that word, chitta.
Chitta.
I love the way he says it,
Yes.
everything about it.
Manas, cool
Manas.
too.
Yeah.
Good words.
I've been starting to read more books that are using those terms very regularly, and it's like, I feel like I am kind of like just taking that first step and like learning the first little words that mean these things, that like the words, we don't have words that properly describe them in English. So you need to like seek the deeper meaning of what it is. You can't just like think that chitta means intelligence. Like you need to go deeper and hear what the word is through all of the contexts that you hear it said in over and over and over and over. Ramana Maharshi's thing of where he says that it takes a certain amount of effort to get to the point of realization, but when you're there, it's effortless. It's like there's no thing more to do. And it's pretty incredible having few experiences where that feeling just is pervasive throughout my whole body. I've been noticing that when I am a bit more unconscious moving through my day, I still have this, whatever you would call it, spirituality drive that's like running the show, but there's the thing in front that's convinced that I need to do something for it to work. And that's the unconscious. And so there's this constant nagging when I'm moving through my day unconsciously. Like, oh, what do I need to do? I need to do breath work right now. I need to go meditate. I gotta like I need to like whatever. And then it's like the moment I return to consciousness, in a way, I realize, like, I take a literal deep breath, and the breath like slows me down and reminds me that there, nothing to do, nowhere to be. And it becomes a bit more effortless. Because you get to a certain point where more and more you just take the reins and you're like, I got this far, and you just let them go. And you just like, the more you just let them go and literally just give it up, you give it up. That's the most incredible thing that Ram Dass says, is like, if you're dealing with something, if you have an ego, if you're depressed, if you're anxious, he's like, give it up. Who says that? Who says that? And it's like, I feel like I'm at a point right now where I could, like, that's what happens when I become conscious. It's like, I can just give it up. Most of the time it's sitting in me, but the moment I become conscious, it's like, give it up. Okay. Luckily I have like a few things that I can do where it's just like gone. And that just leads so naturally into liberation for me.
Yesterday, I was like, I was sitting in this room after going through some of these boxes of stuff that need to be like moved all over the house.
You got a lot of boxes of stuff.
And like, was just very overwhelmed because I also had like a few different things for YouTube I wanted to get done, whatever.
Yeah.
This whole list. And I was just like sitting there, and I knew that I needed to like just get away from it somehow, because I had these like spirals or whatever of and in those things you become so identified with the spiral, you know, that like you come so identified with all of it that there's just, you need to like break it somehow. So I was like, oh, one thing that I've always gone to is like sports. Like if I go for a run, bounce on a trampoline, whatever it is, that can like break me away.
Yeah.
So I started to go for a run, and I just like couldn't stop. So eventually I like stopped running, started walking, and the like 3 words came to my mind. It was just let go, give up, fall. And I just like repeated that.
Whoa.
For like a 30-minute walk.
Wow.
Yeah. And then by the time I got back home, I was in like, I was back to like the thing moving through it. But it's just funny that that's just the exact words you were just using, like let go, give up. And I was like,
yeah,
that's whack.
Yes. I feel like that's potentially what all the best mystics are able to do is like build their lives as like where everything's a reminder, where you're like somehow always reminding yourself. What strikes me is the story of, I do not know about the truth of this, but this, I've heard this multiple places. You've told me this. Mahatma Gandhi
Oh yeah.
was shot, and before he hit the ground, apparently he said Ram before he even hit the ground after being shot. So that is constant reminder. That's like always at the tip of your tongue. I just read, oh my gosh. Yeah. I was reading some of my journal stuff yesterday, and it was like, one of the things I wrote was something about like, the key is to have your love for someone and your love for the world around you on the tip of your tongue, because then it just steals away anything that you would say. It just takes, it just like, because it becomes so silly, anything you would say. If love is on the tip of your tongue, how could you express that? And if, like,
That-
if...
I'll stamp that.
All right.
Love on the tip of your tongue? Give me a universal bar, people. I don't know. Someone made one of the best jokes the other day that we've had on this channel.
Yes, it's very good. Very cheesy. very, very good
Something
joke.
like this Shriyam video.
Yeah.
Forget who it was, but there's just this comment, and they go, it's like, I go to the candy store. Clerk says, would you like a cocoa bar? A chocolate bar? And I go, no, universal bar.
Only here would you get a joke like that and laugh. That's good. That's
The original was said so well, we gotta put that up here.
yeah. So funny.
Wow. Are we ready to continue?
I'm not sure. Sure. Yeah, let's
Whatever.
fuck it.
So these aspects of the mind are not entirely located here, it is right across the system.
I kind of think this is the endeavor of science, is to take the intelligence all around us and across our system and try to understand the principles of that. It's a way of going out and trying to understand the blueprints around us in a way that can be made conscious. And we've made lots of progress that way, and we've walked on the moon, and we've cured lots of human suffering that way by viewing this deep intelligence, which I totally agree with you about, as something that we can make understandable. Take it from the ineffable to the effable. And that's part of what's maybe the biggest part of what's made our world what it is today.
If I can intervene.
Oh man.
I think this is tough. This is when you realize you're sitting across from an enlightened being.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think science is doing like a similar thing, and we're like, we're kind of making it happen.
We walked on the moon.
Yeah.
What? What? Oh, this is pretty funny.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
I think it will take. This is my prediction.
Yes.
Eagleman.
Eagleman. Caves.
It probably is Eagleman, something like that. But jeez, I'm gonna guess that he's gonna slowly settle down into this conversation.
Yeah.
Like once he realizes he isn't being judged and stuff like that, I think we'll get some good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's in that shaky phase.
The shaky phase, like you're getting interviewed, like, oh my god, I gotta prove myself. What a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
Feeling like you have to prove yourself. That's, jeez. But that can only happen if you have somewhere to be, something to do. Otherwise, you have nothing to prove. Like, the ego is the only thing that has something to prove. Like, every time I meet new people, I feel that flare up in me. Because it's like social anxiety, whatever you would call it. And it's just like, it has to just be a recentering of who's the thing that's nervous? What's the thing that's nervous right now? Not me.
That means we can put it into the parameters of logic. What if there is a dimension of intelligence within you which does not fit into the parameters of logic? Trying to fit everything into the parameters of logic means the surface intelligence, which is the intellect, which is our survival mode. If we don't have an intellect, we wouldn't survive in this world. What is a survival instrument? We are trying to put all dimensions of life through that. And it has to pass through that sieve. That will completely skew the process.
Just right there, think about all of the most, like, not to value your memories,
Yeah.
but all the times when you felt most alive.
Yeah.
And then ask yourself if logic was involved.
And can you express that with words properly? It's like the stories that we were just trying to tell. It's like you could hear that in a way where you're like, that wasn't super profound. But to us, it was like huge moments. And that has nothing to do with the words that came to mind or how it was said or anything. Something deeper. And this neuroscientist guy,
Yeah.
he was saying, this is what Sadhguru is directly responding to, is he said, we're trying to take everything that's ineffable and make it effable.
Ooh, wrong attempt.
Yes. Yes.
There's no rights and wrongs. That's wrong.
That's what I went through that same thought process and I was like, it's not pointless to say it because we all know it.
Yeah. Let's explore. Let's wander a bit.
I would want to know that the things that are available to the intellect can't encompass the intelligence of a flower and of a birth and of a body and so on. I take the point that there may be limits to our intellect, but I don't know where those limits are. And I don't know how to guarantee that there are borders there beyond which there's something else.
This science has done incredible things in the last 100 years, no question. Our life is the way it is today. The comfort and convenience that all of us are enjoying is essentially because of the outcome of the scientific endeavor on the planet. There is no question about that. But at the same time, the limitation of science is we are trying to touch a dimension which is beyond physical nature with a physical stick.
Something that you and I had talked about before is this issue of time perception. It's one of the things I study in my lab. And I was mentioning to you that I think it's one of the most…
What I do love when they keep cutting back to the audience, everyone is so there.
Yes.
Everyone's like…
Yeah, like what are they gonna say next?
Yeah, which is sick.
Yeah. I did like where he went with this, David. How he was like questioning, where does the intellect end? How far can it go?
Do we know there are borders?
Do we know that there are
How can
borders?
you…
I think that that's like a cool place to drive the conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited. No, I'm not.
Stubborn psychological filters we have, by which I mean time seems to be a construction of the brain because we can easily manipulate it in the laboratory so that you think something lasted longer or shorter or something happened in a different order. And there are many physicists like Einstein who were very clear on this point that time doesn't actually exist, but we're trapped inside of it. And so this is an interesting example of using our intellect to sort of come up against a glass wall and say, you know, there seem to be things past this wall, and it's impossible for me to know what it would be like to be free of time, for example.
See, time is a very relative experience. Every human being would know this in some context. On a particular day, if you are very, very joyful, 24 hours passed off like a moment. On another day, you're depressed, 24 hours seems like a eon. They say how long a minute is depends on which side of the bathroom door you are. Somebody says, just 1 minute, wait. So, the basis of time, as I perceive it, you must pardon me because I'm uneducated, okay? The only thing I know, being uneducated is not an easy thing. Yes, because from the first moment you're born, your parents, your teachers, every other adult around you, everybody is busy wanting to teach you something that has not worked in their life. Yes. Everybody is trying to instruct you on something, it doesn't matter what. The only thing that they know better than a just born infant is they know some survival tricks, the adults. They don't know anything else about life. They have not perceived any life any better than a child. They just know a few survival tricks.
Oh, jeez! Oh, man. Respect your elders, kids. Do it. Respect them.
Well, yeah.
It was just a joke.
Yeah. Wow. Good one.
That was real good. A few survival tricks, that's it.
A few survival tricks. Oh, right. This is what I thought about. In spirituality, there's often this idea of elevating, becoming the highest self, the highest form. To me, it seems like, or I guess you could just use both of these words interchangeably, but a deepening. Like the whole spiritual process, when I think about elevating, I think about, you know,
Space
like leaving something, yeah. Where it seems like the flowering of spirituality is like going through into things that you never thought were there. You know? It's like a becoming details that you hadn't seen before. And I feel like that analogy was really interesting to me because he was like, an adult hasn't perceived life any differently than a baby. They've just tinkered with life a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like what someone like a Sadhguru has done is like dove into life.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
What you call as my mind, largely in people's experience, is an accumulation of impressions over a period of time.
Agreed.
So, if you have to gather this much of impressions and this much of body, something more fundamental must be there, isn't it?
Houston, Texas is an accumulation of roadways and buildings, but we wouldn't say that Houston was there and they gathered.
You are not a piece of geography. You are not a piece of geography, are you?
Well, maybe exactly that, a physical being. I'll tell you why, from my perspective, that seems like a possibility. It's because we're across the street from the world's largest medical center, and every day there are thousands of people there whose geography is changing because of Alzheimer's or stroke or tumor or traumatic brain injury, and who they are changes. It doesn't seem like there's something fundamental that outlasts damage to the tissue.
See, you're talking
This is spicy.
about
This is
thought
spicy.
and emotion. The biggest mistake we have made is we have given too much significance to human thought. Whatever you think is only happening from the limited data that you have gathered. Yes, sir?
Agreed.
Yes. So the data that you and me have gathered, however big we may think it is, in terms of the cosmos, it's minuscule, it's nothing. It's really not of any consequence. So from this minuscule of data that we have gathered, we are generating some thought which could be useful in making our lives, it could be useful in creating a few things, it could be useful fundamentally for our survival and to enhancement of our survival process, all this. But it doesn't give you access to life. Thought and emotion is psychological drama that's happening within you. You can conduct it any way you want. You're talking about somebody had a tumor or Alzheimer's or an accident or something and the drama went wrong. The drama can go wrong even without any of those ailments. You ask people. People's drama goes wrong without any accident or injury or ailment, just like that, drama goes wrong on a daily basis for a lot of people.
We usually give that a name though, something like depression or a psychotic break.
That's a business.
Not one I'm making any money on.
He goes, that's a business.
Whoa. Sadhguru's feisty today.
Yeah, this is…
I like this a lot.
I understand why people suggested this.
Yes.
We always come around to it eventually.
Yeah, we do always come around to it. Just, hey, if you got something that's gold, just keep throwing it out there. Just annoy us until we do it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we love it when we end up doing it. Like Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Yeah.
How long did we have people suggesting, like, do Jiddu? Do Jiddu! Do Jiddu! And we were like, oh, I guess it's time to do Jiddu. And it like just blew us away. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
He's
find
claiming
your
that
center.
calling something depression is a business.
Wow, this is
This
a lot we haven't even gone over, but there's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that the neuroscientist David Eagleman.
Sure.
I just need to stick with Eagleman.
Sure,
I'm just gonna want to start referring to him as Eagleman. It's gonna be fun. I kind of wish that he was able to finish that analogy of like Houston,
Yeah.
Texas.
Well, he was saying Houston, Texas is an accumulation of roads and buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't say that Houston accumulated those things. We would say that those accumulations built Houston. Similarly to accumulating body and mind, Sadhguru is saying that there's something that accumulated those things.
Right.
Whereas he's saying, what if those accumulations made something?
Oh, geez. Chicken or the egg? Very nice. But that's what's tough is that Sadhguru has to play that game. If you are in the arena like he's in right now, you have to play that game. Like, it must be really... Well, I guess...
It's not necessarily... I wouldn't say that's chicken or the egg. Because one of them infers that you exist before your body, and one of them infers that you are made of your body and mind. So I think it's like materialist versus whatever, mystic.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess I'm just at the point where it's just like... It's like you're like right here and you're like trying to pick it all apart and you just like take a step back. It's like, oh jeez, well that was dumb. Like, I don't know, I guess that's just the way that I'm feeling right now, but also at the same moment totally understand why Sadhguru has himself in this position, because he has to work through all of those things to get anyone anywhere, I guess.
Yeah.
From his perspective.
And these are some good questions. Like, these are some questions that I am still battling.
Really good questions, for sure. Yeah.
See, what is a social requirement is one thing. I just saw you going into the women's room.
And you too, by the way.
Because that was the only bathroom available.
Yes.
So, by social norm, you do certain things. Because in the room that we were sitting, there was only women's room. I don't know why they marked it like that.
I don't know.
So you went in, I went in, every other male went in, only the female did not go. So now what you do for the norm that exists so that you don't collide into situations is one thing, what you identify is another thing. So the moment you identify with anything for that matter, starting from your body to everything else, what is your body is the limited body, what you call as family is a larger body, what you call as community is a much bigger body, what you call as a nation is a much bigger body, what you call as humanity is a much bigger body. This is how human identities go. People think it's better to be identified with a nation than to be with an individual when there is a war or when there's some situation. People think it's better to be identified with the whole humanity, but any identity limits you. It takes away the fundamental possibility of what this life is. Identity is required for survival process to manage day-to-day situations, but it is not an exploratory process. Because the intention of science is to know. See, technology is a fallout. Unfortunately in this world, nobody would fund science if it did not spin technology, which is a very unfortunate thing. Because human intelligence wants to know, it need not be useful, it simply wants to know. So technology is useful, and what is useful today, tomorrow you may realize is very destructive, it may take away our life. So technology has to be judiciously looked at, what to apply, what we should not apply. But that judiciousness is gone because everything is commercialized and it's on, full force. Everything that we do after 50 years, we come back and say we did the wrong thing, now we're doing the right thing, and again after 25 years we come back and say then we did the wrong thing, now we're doing the right thing. Every stage of life we seem to know it perfectly well, but after some time looking back, we know we did not know nothing, we missed too many pieces. So technology is something that we have to judiciously do. Science must happen rampantly, mysticism must happen rampantly because this is simply exploratory. This is not about seeing how to make it useful. But today, modern science has become a slave of technology. If you don't make it useful, nobody's going to fund you anymore. You simply say, I want to know, nobody's interested in this. How can it be turned into an enterprise? That's…
Oh, he's down.
Dude,
Eli's gonna be asleep for a little while, so
Oh,
give it to us.
no, I'm just… just the amount of like with the whole pandemic, you know, all of the things going on Earth right now, how much of it is just because we're like, how do you flip a profit on that? You know?
Yeah.
How do you brand that? How do you… It's like…
And let's call it problem solving.
Yeah, let's… not problem creation. Like…
In the system we're in, it's like there always needs to be a problem that needs to be solved. And the problem just has to be like perpetual, so the solution has to like somehow end up creating the problem even more. Just like relate that to any industry and it makes sense.
Relate that to your own life. you
Yeah.
know? It's like…
Yeah.
It's like drama. It's just like making problems so you have something to solve. Oh, yeah. It the whole idea of freedom is just hidden as like no identity. You know?
Yeah.
Like if you can drop what you were a minute ago, you're free.
Ooh.
I'm feeling like I need to take a pause now that we're an hour and 30 minutes into this discussion.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Wow. Yeah. This has been a ride so far.
Of course. Yes.
We knew it was gonna be, but
Yeah.
If you're on YouTube, you are probably getting a partial version of this.
Mm-hmm.
Full version is over on our Patreon.
Yep.
Thank you so much to all the Patreon supporters, literally making all this possible.
Yes.
And
Much love.
much love. Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa.
Yeah.